Hey everybody, this is TJ Summers with Digital Artist Management. I'm starting a new video series that I'm really excited about. Every day I get asked questions, both from candidates and from clients, went into what our perspective and what we're seeing in the market. And so what I thought would be helpful if I share some of these questions with you, and then give you some answers from what we're seeing in our unique perspective in the recruiting front. And so hopefully the goal out of this is to give you some knowledge and some insight from our perspective that we feel will help you make better choices with your career, and from a company perspective, help you make better hiring choices that will help you grow and scale the business and then make the best games possible. So number one, both these questions are related to remote work, which is a very hotbed topic these days. But number one, from what we're seeing in the companies that we're supporting, do we feel that companies who are working remotely in a COVID environment, will they go back to an in-studio environment post-COVID restrictions? And the answer to the question is it really depends. It depends on the studio. There's a lot of studios that are out there that have a real strong belief system in the studio environment. Making games is hard. The magic of making games in a collaborative kind of on-site, in-person setting is where a lot of leadership feels like the real magic comes from. And so why not capture that magic in person? And so those groups are definitely going to return as quickly as they can. And there's also another group who have thrived in the COVID environment and reworked a way that helps them find that same magic, but in a remote capacity. And I would say we working with a lot of smaller startups that have opened up in the last 12 months. That's all they know. And so they've been able to build the right systems, the right communication channels in order for them to be successful. And those studios will most likely remain working in a remote capacity in perpetuity. So what I would say, most important, if you're a candidate and you're interviewing, make sure that you ask that question specifically. What's your intentions with your labor force post-COVID restrictions? So you know exactly what the expectations will be. And from a company perspective, do the exact same. Talk to, when you're talking to interviewing candidates, make sure that you share your intentions with either coming back to the studio environment or continuing to work in a remote capacity. So the expectations are set, and there's no discrepancies or communication discrepancies when that time does happen, and hopefully when everybody has the ability to go back into a studio environment. And so question number two that's commonly asked is, do we feel that companies who are only working, that will only be working in studio are at a competitive disadvantage? And so the answer to that question is, I would say yes, to a certain extent. Now we're competing in a global labor force, right? Where it used to be where the companies were only recruiting, candidates who were within, let's say, like a 50-mile radius of their studio, and had to kind of control that population as best they can, or trying to recruit people to come to that geographical region. That's a really difficult way to grow and scale a business. The benefit now that you're, people who are working remotely, who have been able to acquire skill sets and capabilities from other parts of the country or other parts of the world, that in some respects has expedited the hiring process, and most importantly, got the best person for the job. And that's a critical piece, to hiring today is making sure you're finding the right person for the job. And so I think from a long-term perspective, from a strategic standpoint, talking to employers, we always encourage is having some flexibility or figure out some type of schedule that may, whether it be on a per case by case basis or on maybe a project per project basis, where you're able to not limit yourself to only restricting to candidates who are willing to work on site. It shortens your talent pool, and from a competitive standpoint, for those people who are working remotely, it gives them an opportunity to take to capture that knowledge base or that skill set away from you. So So that's it. So hopefully these questions that I answered today are going to be of benefit. We'll be doing the exact same thing next week and the following week and the following week. And if you have any questions, feel free to submit them to me. TJ, my email address is tj@damagents.com. And we look forward to helping you guys make the best games possible. Thanks so much.